obviously he didn't
and
get
he
in.
couldn't get in because he didn't have his passport. It was like he was like 50 or 60. It was just like a funny situation. We took a 12-hour bus ride, I think, which I thought, now
I
I
threw
would
up in that bus.
do sales. I would say like some of the best positions for remote work is like if you're comfortable.
Actually, I think that was the only time that it was a test for our relationship, right?
Yeah, is that how you feel?
No, you said
Welcome to episode 1 of TikTokos and
margaritas.
So this is episode 1 of.
Oh, we're filming already?
Yeah, it's filming.
Okay.
This is episode 1. We've never done anything like this before, so
No. I begged Alec to start one with me because he's done it before and I never done it, and I get a lot of questions about how we started traveling. So I was like, why don't we do an episode of a podcast and we talk about how we started traveling, how to do remote job, like how to find a remote job, and how to like travel and live a healthy life and all that. So
yeah.
that's why we started this, and I think we need a little bit of introduction of us, who we are, how we met, because probably people that are listening to us know us already, but if you don't know us, because you are our friend, we met almost 3 years ago, right? 3 years? Yeah.
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years.
Yeah. In Mexico, in Tulum. Alec was traveling solo for how many months already?
Not that long.
Not that long.
Like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it was literally my first like 3 days in Mexico traveling solo. I was so proud of myself for like being alone and like being a digital nomad and like, women empowerment, like being by myself. And then I met Alec, and 3 days into being there, I met him and we started traveling together. Do you want to add something to that?
Yep. I mean, I was in Tulum at the time, but I had just decided to go not conquer, I guess maybe that's the wrong word.
Yeah.
Travel through Latin America. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I bribed my cousin to go down to Cancun with me for a weekend so I could get somebody to help me get started traveling. Just I wanted like some sort of like a soft landing. Yep. And then I was initially just supposed to go to Tulum for like a weekend, but I ended up staying for like, I think I was there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks when we met. I was hanging out with Camilo and them.
And Alec had a more, I wouldn't say structured plan, but you kind of knew where you wanted to go. I was like, I had my flight to Mexico, and that was it. I didn't know like that. I mean, that fits my personality, I think. Like our personalities, Alec is more like he plans, I don't. So I just bought my ticket, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna see how it goes, and then maybe I'll travel more. Maybe I'll go back home to cry to my mommy. But I think, so I kind of follow Alec a little bit in that sense because he had trips already booked, and he was like, oh, I'm going to Puerto Escondido, which is like another part of Mexico, and he said like, do you want to come with me? And I was like, yeah, sure. I just met you, but I'll go with you. And then from there, we traveled like for a month around Mexico. Just like, think about this. Like, we just met and we were like 24 hours together, like traveling together, taking planes together, like with all the stress that all that, like it happened, like it's kind of stressful.
Well, not just like planes, but like buses, water taxis.
Yeah.
And then like at the time when we first met, excuse me, we had or I only had like a backpack at the time. Like that was it. Like, I literally just
I
had a backpack, and you had like a full on. You looked like you
I
were moving in.
yeah, I learned my lesson after that trip to Mexico because I went back to Spain, and after that we started like fully traveling, and then I got like a smaller luggage because when I first went to Tulum, it was my first
She came
time.
with 37 bikinis.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it looked like I was moving. Instead of being a digital nomad, it looked like I was moving to Mexico, like with a like two big like luggage, like a ton of clothes, high heels that I never wore in Mexico, of course. Yeah, so I learned my lesson.
Oh yeah, sorry, I had to fix the camera. Maybe it didn't even have a problem. I'm not sure, but a lot of
Anyways,
luggage.
yeah,
There's a lot of luggage.
lot of luggage. So yeah, so I mean, I think like when you start traveling, you don't really know, like if you've never been a digital nomad, you don't really know like, and you're also, if you haven't planned your full year of traveling, you don't know if you're gonna need like winter clothes, summer clothes, because that happened to us after. Like we went to Argentina where in Buenos Aires was like really warm, and then in Patagonia was like winter, and I had to borrow from a friend like winter clothes because I didn't have any. Um, so I would highly suggest packing light. And that's something that I still have to learn. But yeah, pack light and then pack winter and summer clothes because that's really important. But yeah, back to our story. Um,
Yep. So we met in Tulum, and then we went to salsa night, and then we, I think, met up like 4 days later after that, and then
yeah.
that's when we were like, I think I only had like 4 days left in Tulum before I was going to Sayulita
Alec
with Camilo.
was really interested in me and he texted me a lot.
Yep, that's exactly.
No, honestly, like I think it was the first time that somebody was like really, like a guy was really open about like, I like you, I want to meet you again.
It was
And
like The Notebook. That
yeah,
was like the scene from. That was basically. I was Ryan Gosling
yeah,
in The Notebook.
yeah.
That was basically what it was.
That's who. Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I feel like a lot of guys like wouldn't, if they like a girl that they just met, they wouldn't say that they really like her because they would be scared of scaring her off. But to me, it worked because he wasn't like, "Oh, I cannot live without you." He was like, "Oh, I really like you, and I wanna if you." But I really continue traveling. That's what he said. Like, if you don't want to travel, like this is not gonna work. But I did want to travel, so yeah, we were like, okay, let's travel together. Let's see if this works, and if it doesn't work, then that's it. We go separate ways, different countries, and back to the beginning. So yeah, Mexico
Yep.
was
So
great.
then I went to Sayulita with Camilo, and then I went to the U.S. for a wedding, and then we both flew to Puerto Escondido, and we were there for like a week and a half. That was actually interesting because that was the first time we were actually staying together, and we were staying in a teepee,
Oh
like
yeah,
uh,
like
there was
no
no
AC.
AC.
Yeah, we
There was
voted.
no AC, so it was hot. And then I think we eventually moved into a room with AC, but like we were like now all of a sudden we were in a new place, and then we were also staying in a teepee with no AC.
Yeah,
So
that was interesting.
yeah, I'm a big AC fan, have sleep in cold person.
I have to say, I used to not like AC or cold, but I've read and I've watched many videos of people saying that it's really important to have your room like really cold to sleep well. So you were right.
Yep. And also at the time, I was just kind of the marketing company that I'd been building had just started to gain like actual traction to the point where I was actually making money. So it was also good timing because when I went to Mexico for the first 3 weeks I was there, I was like partying a lot, going out, like exploring, meeting people. But then Laura had like an actual like 9 to 5 schedule job
Yeah.
that she was following. So then once we started traveling together, I started to like work more, which then helped the business actually grow because before then I was just kind of like doing whatever, traveling, partying, and then as we continued to travel, it continued to grow.
I think it's difficult to, at the beginning, it's really difficult to balance work and like personal life, because it's not that you live in a city or whatever and you have your job and you go to your job and then you go to meet your friends or you go to the gym. What you have, like, your life is kind of, you have to be really um, focused on like having a little bit of routine, but you're traveling, so you it's kind of like you never have the same routine, but it's really important. I think we, like, probably a month into traveling, we started like working out again, like, not, not every day that there was, like, because there was always an event going on and there was
Yeah,
a
because
party.
we were staying at Selena's. Like when we had met, I had already started buying like what was at the time called the Selena Co-Live package. I don't know if they still do it, but essentially you could pay for like a month, and then you could go to different locations. So you would get like a flat rate for the month. Some locations were a little bit more, some were covered. So you might have to pay $10 a night extra, but I think it was about like 1,000 or 1,200 a month at the time for us to have our own room and go to these different Selenas, which are kind of like a lot of digital nomads, co-working places. So we started doing that. Well, we went to this. We were at the Selena in Tulum. That's where I was staying when we met. And then we went to the Selena in Puerto Escondido. Then we went to Selena in Isla Mujeres. Then we went back, and
We met in New York.
yeah, and then we met back in New York. I mean, actually, that first year we were in. It was like the start of the first year, but we were in North America, Central America, South America, and Europe. So, well, 3 continents, I guess.
Yeah.
That first year.
That first year, we traveled a lot. Also, we were doing like maybe 2 weeks in each place, which was amazing because we got to visit like many places, but also it was really tiring because like
Yeah.
like you need like at least 3 days to get to know the place, where things
Especially when
are.
you're working. Like, that was one of the, I would say, the mistakes early on was when I was kind of flexible with my schedule. I was really getting to like my first 3 weeks. I was just like Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, and then Sayulita and Puerto Escondido. I was kind of like, it was only a week, 2 weeks everywhere, and then Isla Mujeres was also like a week, 2 weeks maybe Isla Mujeres, and then after that when did New Year's in New York City, and then we left New York to go to Costa Rica. But that Costa Rica, we were there for a month. But the first place we were in not Playa. What was the first place we went to? It's on the West Coast.
In Costa Rica,
Yeah.
that was, it's not Playa Venao, it's
That's Panama. We were on the. I don't even remember what it was called at this point. Anyways, we were on the West Coast of Costa Rica for a week. Then we went to. Was it one other spot or 2 other places?
I think we went to 2 other places in Costa Rica.
Yeah, I know in Manuel Antonio we actually spent time in, and then that's when I kind of realized, because the first place we were in, it was a beach town. I'm sure you guys would know it because we can't remember the name right now, but it's like a beach town, digital nomad hotspot, but we were there, like we got there on like a Saturday or a Sunday, and then we left like on a Saturday, so we didn't really get a lot of time to like go out and see the place. Like, I think we went surfing maybe once.
I tried surfing.
Yeah. You did go surfing twice, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if it was there. But then but it was like a week there, and then it was a week somewhere else, and then it was 2 weeks in Manuel Antonio, I think. And that's when we're like, all right, like, this is, and then, oh, no, so we were a week at the surf town on the West Coast, which I can't remember the name. Then we were in San Antonio for 2 weeks. Then we were in Puerto Viejo for a week. Then we were in Bocas del Toro for a week, which we took a bus because if you go to Puerto Viejo, you can take a basically they have a shuttle that brings you to the border. Then you like walk across the border into Panama and you like get your passport scanned. I remember this one guy showed up like he had lost his phone and his passport or something like that, but he still tried to get into Panama and they like didn't let
And
it.
we
He, like,
had to wait for him for like 2 hours or something
Yeah.
like that. And
but
obviously
couldn't-
he didn't
and
get
he
in.
couldn't get in because he didn't have his passport. It was like he was like 50 or 60. It was just like a funny situation.
Yeah.
But then we were in Bocas del Toro for a week. Then we went to Panama City. We took a bus, a 12-hour bus ride, I think, which I thought, now
I
I
threw
would.
up in that bus. I get really car sick, and yeah, it happened. I knew it was gonna happen at some point because it wasn't like a normal bus ride. It
Yeah.
was like through a mountain.
Yeah, at the time I thought like because I'm always like interested in doing like kind of new experiences, and I was like, cool, so like we'll take a bus ride across the country, like that'll be interesting. Also at the time, like didn't have as much money, so it was like I think maybe
We
$15.
were broke.
It was like maybe $15 or something like that, and then the flights from Bocas del Toro to Panama City were like $200 each. So we're like, all right, well we can save like like $200, I think it was, to take a bus. Now we would just take the flight, probably. But
Yeah.
it was interesting having Laura throw up in. I think you grabbed your sweatshirt.
Yeah, I threw up in my sweater. I didn't have anything, and yeah, I did it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it wasn't the first time, I have to say, that I grabbed something that I'm wearing. But that's another story.
Yeah. I mean, so that was interesting. Threw up in her sweater or sweatshirt. But then we hung out, I think, in Panama City for a weekend. And then from there, we flew to Colombia, I think.
Yeah,
And then we were
Cartagena and
Cartagena for, like-
Medellin. We surprised our friend in Medellin.
Yeah.
And then we
Because
did.
we had met in Puerto Viejo, I think. Mm-hmm. And then
Oh, that's
we were then in Bocas del Toro, but then he went to Medellin.
That's something that happens a lot, by the way. Like if you stay at Selena, we're not sponsored by Selena, but I wish we were because it's amazing. Like, you basically with the colleague program, you can switch places. Like you pay like a monthly rate, and then you can switch up from different Selenas, and yeah, you like basically like you run into the same people. Like
A lot of people are doing similar trips where like
Yeah.
they're not necessarily all going to the same places as you, but a lot of people kind of were using that Selena program at the time. I don't know if it still exists. I think if it exists, it's more expensive, but because it was like $1,200 a month, it was a good deal, and you got access to like the co-working spaces because all the Selenas had co-working spaces. But then we would meet people in one spot, and then we would meet them a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, a year later,
yeah,
at a different
in like
spot
different
somewhere in the world.
countries.
Yeah. Like some people we met in Isla Mujeres, we then met back up in Greece with, which was, shout out Nick, because we met him in Paros,
Yeah.
Greece. which
Shout
was
out Nick.
that following summer of 2022, because we met in 2021, started traveling. And then so we went Cartagena, and then we went to Medellin for a weekend. And then from there, did we go back to the U.S. from there, or did we continue from there?
Oh yeah, we might have been.
Because I think,
Yeah.
I think so. I think we went back to the U.S. We went to New Orleans, and then we took a road trip. We were in New Orleans for like a week. Then we took a road trip with my uncle to like Phoenix, basically like Tucson. So we went to Texas. We went to Marathon, Texas. And then we went to Big Bend National Park.
Yeah.
Then we flew back from there. You flew earlier to Argentina, but I flew to Portland to go do a work thing.
I was 1 week, I think, by myself in Argentina. But I have Argentinian friends, so they kind of put me in contact with some other friends. So that was great. But to be honest, like also I have to add before I forget, a lot of people will tell you when you start traveling, oh, don't go to this place. Like we had a lot of people telling us, don't go to Argentina because it's really dangerous, and
Don't go to Mexico. It's super dangerous. Don't go to
don't go
Colombia.
to
Don't
Colombia,
go
blah
to
blah blah.
Panama,
Brazil,
New Orleans.
New Orleans is dangerous. Don't go there. No, I'm kidding. But it wasn't like obviously you have to be careful. You cannot like in Brazil you cannot go like with your phone like that. Like you cannot do that. But you have to obviously you have to know that like where you are. But there is. It's not like you go to the street and then somebody's gonna rob you immediately. Like people actually are extremely friendly. Like especially in Argentina. Like Argentina is one of my favorite places in the world because Argentinians are so friendly, super welcoming. You met them once and they invite you to like their family,
To their asado.
yeah, to their asados, to their family like lunches, dinners, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember I was in Portland and she was like, "Oh, these people invited me to go to their house."
Yeah.
And then she was like at this like family party.
Literally
'cause
people
an
that I just
asado
met.
in Argentina is basically like a barbecue in the U.S. So people will go and they'll cook a ton of meat and they'll have Fernet, which is like a specific type of Argentinian liquor. That for me, kind of like it's definitely an acquired taste. Like people love it there.
Yeah,
Like
they
Argentinians
drink
love their
Fernet a
Fernet.
lot. Yeah,
But for me, I don't know why it tastes like minty. With
Yeah.
so it's like similar to Jägermeister,
you always drink it with Coke.
but they always drink it with Coke, like Coca-Cola. And it tastes like a minty kind of thing. And I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think the first time I tried it, I was like, I don't know how people drink this. Then you kind of get like accustomed to the taste. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think then we went to Brazil, we went to Rio, and then we went to Jericoacoara. And
Jericoacoara. But yeah, that was close.
Jericoacoara. And then Fortaleza. But Fortaleza, we didn't really do anything.
No,
Like
I was boring in Brazil.
Yeah,
I-
Laura decided to take a sober month.
I did
No, no,
not
keto.
only I
Yeah,
did I
sober
took
month and
well
keto.
sober. I think sober it was fine. Like I'm actually right now like doing a sober month as well, and I'm not an alcoholic. I like to do this.
Thanks for
But
clarifying that.
but yeah, I went like all in. It's true that I was like a little bit because I wanted to start the summer really healthy, and
At the time, we were in like Costa Rica for like a month, and we were in Panama for like a week, and Argentina for Colombia for 3 weeks. Then we were in Argentina for a little over a month. We were in Buenos Aires for like 3 weeks, and then we went to Patagonia for like a week. We went to Bariloche, and then we were in Brazil for basically another month.
yeah. But
And that was like leading us into like May. I think at the time we were in Brazil, we were in May, and she wanted to like get healthy for summer. But for me, like when you're trapped, because she was eating keto and not drinking, and we were in Brazil,
I
where
did
it's like
full keto. Like keto, like some people think that is something because when I started doing it, you were like, "No, you're not doing it right." And then when I started doing it right, it's true that you lose a lot of weight.
yeah,
But it's like it's not how to say it. It's not easy to maintain it.
no.
It's
Especially
like
when you're traveling, like for me,
or even like with a social life, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Because
it's
you just
really
like
hard.
when you're thinking about choosing places to go out to eat, like you're not just like casually just choosing wherever. Like you kind of have to think a lot more about where you're going to eat.
Yeah.
And so that last month in Brazil was like a little bit of a grind for both of us because Laura didn't really want to go out to eat that much or definitely not go out.
Because I wasn't
And
drinking.
I think
so
the only
was like-
time I like went out was I met these two Belgian guys in Jericho who happened to be staying at the same hotel, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
Like,
and I
let's-
stay
let's go
in the
somewhere.
room.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't regret it because, yeah, I think it was I like to do these challenges to myself, but I don't
I
think
think doing the challenge while
I don't think I don't
while
recommend
traveling to a new place.
I don't recommend keto.
Yeah.
Let's say I don't recommend it as a diet. I think it's really not
Well,
sustainable and
At least while traveling, it's
or not traveling. I don't think it's great, but
well, I think
anyways.
it serves its purpose for short periods of time, but it's not like a long term diet. I mean, there's videos on my YouTube channel about me doing keto back in college. Like, I think it's a good diet, but it's like for me, it's very important when you're going to new cultures to taste new
Try.
foods, try the local cuisine, like
Yeah.
go out and experience. So if you're not drinking and you're not eating like any carbs at all, then it
You
becomes
get
you
grumpy.
become like very restricted and grumpy and hangry.
That was, I think, that was the only time that it was a test for our relationship, right?
Yeah, is that how you feel?
No, you said that.
Yeah, no,
I think you said
yeah.
that. Like, because, yeah.
We were just like the
because I
two
wasn't
of
being
us.
fun, to be
Yeah,
honest.
we were just the two of us, not meeting people, not going out, like not really like we would explore a little bit, but like we were just the two of us for like a month in Brazil.
But then after Brazil, we went like, I think, for almost a month separate way. Like,
Yeah,
not
I
not
went
like
back-
we separated. We just like
I
he
went-
went back to his country. I went back to my country
Yeah,
to visit our family, and I think that was really good because then when we saw each other, it was like great again.
yeah, because I think after like 6-7 months of like traveling together, it can definitely burn you out a little bit because you're spending so much time with one person, especially if you stop hanging out with other people. It's like one of
Yeah.
the things now that's different is like we both have our friends that we can hang out with and like go do stuff with.
And we are 3 now.
Yeah, and we've got
We have this munchkin here.
little Winston. I wonder if he wants to say anything. Yep.
Hi, Winnie. Hi.
He's not a girl. Okay. He just
He's a boy. Alec hates the haircut. I think he looks so cute.
yeah.
Anyways.
But what do you and then we spent 3 months in Europe, and then 3 months in Europe and then also Cyprus, and that kind of like rounded up like the first year traveling. So we went to Mexico, U.S., Panama, Costa Rica, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil. That's 7. Italy 8. We went to Marbella, Spain 9. Greece 10. Cyprus 11.
And then Bali.
Well, not until
November.
Well, yeah, maybe I guess yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
But
that
I
was
also went to like Paris, Switzerland, Austria, and Germany. So I went kind of because Lauro was in Cyprus for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I went and kind of took my own trip to go. I think I went to like 4 or 5 countries. So probably like I went to maybe 15 countries that first year. Lauro had gone to maybe 11 because
we always argue who has been in more countries. I think I've been in more
It's me.
countries.
I've been to more countries.
I've traveled
I
a
think.
lot.
You don't know anything about.
I've traveled more than you.
Yeah.
But anyways, should we get to questions? We received some questions from like friends. Like, as I said at the beginning, like the reason for this video is because we got a lot of questions about how we start traveling. There's a lot of people that they've never lived abroad, or they just wanna like quit their jobs and have like remote jobs. So we are gonna try to answer some of those questions. Should I go first, or you wanna go first?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down some of my own questions. We did. I only got one person, Drew, who actually left a question. Everybody, I guess, nobody else.
I got some questions from friends.
Nobody cares about me. But I was just gonna clarify, like, what was your plan exactly when you headed to Mexico? You were just like,
Me?
yeah.
So yeah, I was
YOLO.
yellow. Yeah, party. No, honestly, I was like, it was my first time having a remote job.
And why did you go?
So
Why did you decide
a
to
little
go?
bit of like context. I had a remote job since March that year. That was 2021. But I was living in Singapore from a previous job. But it didn't make any, because when I switched to this remote job, it didn't make any sense to stay in Singapore because Singapore is really expensive. Although I had like great friends there, and I was like, I really didn't want to leave because I was like, it was one of the best times in my life, in my time in Singapore. But like many of my friends were like, you should go travel. So I went back to Spain to see my parents because I didn't see them like for 2 years because COVID happened. And then one day I booked a flight to Mexico, like one way flight, and like for a month, and then the next month I was traveling. And I'll never forget, like, my thoughts in the plane were like, what are you doing? Like, you're going by yourself to Mexico, like you don't know anybody. But I felt like I was like nervous, but I never felt so great in my life, I have to say. I felt like super empowered. I felt like beautiful. I felt like smart. I don't know. I felt like, honestly, I felt great, I have to say. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you met me, like, you felt that, right? That I was confident. I was like, because I felt great.
Yeah.
I was feeling great. So I was like, I don't know, fun and like great.
I
I'm
was
just
like
saying.
just so great and beautiful and fun.
No, but I'm saying that, like, I think,
I honestly, and I think I was amazing.
no, I honestly, I felt great. When you know that you're likable,
Just
I,
full of life,
I felt full of life. Yeah,
in love with life.
in love with life. So I highly recommend it. Like, the feeling is great. Um, what was the question?
Why did you go to Mexico, or like what was your
Oh,
plan?
and then, oh yeah, so then I was doubting between Buenos Aires or Mexico for for starting my, like, digital nomad life. But some people told me, oh no, don't go to Buenos Aires, like to Argentina. It's like really dangerous now. So yeah, I just decided to go to Mexico. I at that point I've never been in Mexico before, so yeah, I was like, why not? Um, and then yeah, it was great. It was a great decision.
That sounds great. That sounds
Okay,
wonderful.
thank you. I'm gonna ask you a question. How do you balance a healthy lifestyle with traveling all the time?
I think having like a schedule and routines and like having non-negotiables, I would say. So like for example, it's really easy when you're exercising or traveling so much to not exercise, and having exercise be like a non-negotiable. I think in forcing that into your routine helps it a lot to like have, for example, starting work at the same time every day, exercising, like having kind of like pillars in your day that are similar to what you would do normally. I think is important for me because I'm like we just came back from Spain. We're in Amsterdam now, and we are going to the US next week. We're going to Colorado, then we're going to Mexico, and then we're coming back here. Before that, I was in Tampa and Houston for a week and a half. And I think it's kind of challenging to still be effective with like getting work done. But also like and then the other end of it is like trying to balance it, because there's always, especially when you're traveling and you're staying in like a kind of like a co-living hostel, there's always somebody there that wants to do something. There's always something going on. So it's like
Yeah.
learning how to say no and like being okay with the FOMO, which we saw like other people struggle with more, and like couldn't handle being a digital
Yeah.
nomad because they couldn't handle saying no to doing certain things, like saying no to going to dinner every night, going out every night.
Drinking every
Yeah,
night.
if somebody wanted to go on like a day trip somewhere. So like learning to be okay with like not being able to do everything, but being able to still do more than you would normally do if you're home. Because if you're in a new country every month, which we were, especially for that first year, there's just always things going on. So being able to feel comfortable saying no to certain things and trying to not have FOMO, which like there's definitely times where you would, or I would have like fear of missing out, right? But I would say that's one of the bigger challenges, is like learning to say no when you're a digital nomad, because if you're home, it's you wake up in the same place, you make food, you go to work,
Have a
it's not
gym.
like on every Monday people are going on some type of excursion. So
Yeah.
I would say like having a workout routine, having a work routine, and then also like just being comfortable saying no to doing certain things.
Yeah, I would add that if you wanna like, I've, what I work better for me was to wake up and work out. Like the first thing to do at waking up, working out, and then just like start working, and then you could like join people for excursions or do whatever you want to do, but like just get the workout first thing in the morning, so then like you're done.
Yeah, totally. So in that first year traveling, what do you think was the best decision you made, and what do you think was the worst decision you made?
I never thought about that. I've been asked about the best country and worst country, but never that. um I would say the best decision was, well, the best decision was starting to you're you're waiting for me to say you, right? I
Just
mean,
kidding.
I have to say,
Besides me.
like kind of like following you. I won't say following because I wasn't following you, but like you kind of knew more where you wanted to go. And I could be like, I had people telling me, like friends, like, oh no, like don't rush into, you just met him, don't do this and do that. Like, we met up in New York where he's from, like for New Year's Eve, and I had some people telling me not to go, but I just followed my instinct and did it. And I mean, here we are. We're getting married, by the way. So,
We're engaged, bitches.
yeah, bitches. And so I think that like following your instinct a little bit and don't listen to people that obviously they mean well, but some people just talk about their own experiences and project, and you just have to follow your instinct and know what's gonna work for you. And then the worst decision was, I would say, not saving money. I was like really bad at saving money.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with like what I think the worst decision was, which is which every like moving around probably too much. Because if you have like a home base for like a month, 2 months, 3 months, you don't spend as much money. Because we were spending money on flights, on taxis. Every time we would move to a place to the other, it would easily be another $300, $400, and at the time, like neither of us were making that much money, so spending an extra $1,000 a month just on moving from places to place, between the flights, the taxis, the all that stuff, like, versus let's say we rented a place in, the first time I went to Buenos Aires, I think we rented a place for like $700 a month, $800 a month, I think it was, and like if we had just stayed there for a month, we would have saved more money.
Yeah,
But I think
it's like, even though,
it's just also stressful, like
yeah,
moving around so much. Um, it's just stressful because you don't get to see the places as much as like. It's better, I think, to spend a month in one place than like a week in 4 different places for spending less money and actually being able to get to see the place better and like getting comfortable with the place. We did get to see a lot of interesting places. We went to Rio, Tulum, Puerto Escondido. Like we went to, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 cities in a year. But it gets expensive and it's gets a little stressful. It kind of takes some of the fun out of the experience when you're spending 8 hours, because you're essentially spending a full weekend day 2-3 times a month to travel. So you just don't get to experience the places as much.
yeah,
So between spending more money by traveling more and also just it's adding some stress to catching flights, catching water taxis, catching shuttles,
yeah. So that's, I wouldn't forget about the, even though you're traveling, just organizing your finances is important. We can make another episode talking about finances a little bit more if you guys like this one. But yeah, those are the best and worst. Okay, I have one for you. I have a lot of people, a lot of friends asking me how like they want to start traveling, but they work in corporate usually and they cannot work remotely. And the question is, how do I find a remote job?
I think there's a few sites. I think if you go look up like remote jobs, there's a few sites that are specifically have remote jobs on them. But I do know that some people who like they're in careers that they literally can't go remote. But like for example, for online companies like my company, my marketing company, I hire people remote to do customer service, do sales. I would say like some of the best positions for remote work is like if you're comfortable and you want to get good at sales, like that's definitely one of the best ones. But also there's like boot camps to become like coders. Like one of the most common things that we met were coders, like people that code, because there's no reason to be in an office for that. So it's like thinking about stuff that you do really a lot from a laptop. We also met people in crypto, right? Which is at the time you were working in crypto.
Yep.
And salespeople, account managers for like software or marketing companies and stuff like that. Those are the most common things that I've seen for sure.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people with their own business, obviously.
a lot of people with their own business, yeah, which I think is the hardest one to do. But I think, also one thing too is like because I am running, or I'm not running, I am the director of client operations, whatever. One of the leaders of a coaching organization where we coach coaches, help them scale, and a lot of them have appointment setters who like go in and like have conversations and DMs and set appointments from that, and that you can do from anywhere too. So that would be another opportunity.
Yeah, I would just type literally remote jobs, and like on like one of the like LinkedIn or like what's the other one that you can find jobs?
Indeed.
Indeed. And then sometimes I've never done it, but I've heard like that you can kind of negotiate.
Also networking. I think if you
Yeah.
if you were to go travel for a month and go stay in places like a Selena or go to Bali for a month, and you really set out with the focus of like networking and finding like people referring you to their company. Like if you go to a place like Bali or like another digital nomad hotspot, or you could, by networking and talking to people, you might be able to figure out like get referred. Maybe they have a company you can work for. But I definitely think like networking is going to be one of the biggest ones. Is like talking to people who do it, because then it'll give you more ideas.
Talk to people. Talk.
I know Hannah in Bali, which is actually on my channel. That's my most watched video. She was a social media manager. And yeah, I think those are kind of like some of the top positions. But
Good advice, Alec.
yeah. And if you want to start a company, like just know it's probably not going to be something that's going to
We can
make enough money.
also make another video of how Alec started his own business, how he failed on starting his own business, how he started it again, and now he's successful at it, plus 3 other businesses.
Yeah, I have 2 other businesses that I own or co-own, and then another business that I'm kind of a partner in. I'm not literally a partner, but and then I'm probably launching another business this year. But for the first couple years traveling, I had just the one business that I focused on building, a marketing company, and then last year I started 2 new companies. One of them's an RV rental company, one of them's a coaching company, and yeah, and then I'm probably going to start a software company this year.
Amazing.
Yep.
All right.
But it
More
took me a while
questions for me?
to get profitable. Yeah, what was your favorite place or city and your least favorite place or city
Oh,
the first
see,
year
I knew that was coming.
traveling?
Uh, my least favorite, I would say, I would say, that's difficult. I'm not a big fan of Rio. I, w- I mean, it's cool to see
Cristo de Redentor.
El Cristo Redentor. It's cool to, like Ipanema, Copacabana, like the two main beaches. But besides that, it's not really. I mean, I, we didn't see that much, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite to be honest. And also, like,
It was
I
also
have to say that it wasn't nothing happened to us, but I was at the beach by myself once, and like I literally had my bag right next to me, and then this guy came and told me like, "Oh, you have to like watch your back here," and it was like 2 p.m. The beach full of people. So, and that really didn't happen anywhere else. Like that, people were like, "Oh, be careful! Like, be really careful, like, because they're gonna steal from you." Um, so yeah, maybe Rio. And the most favorite, I have how to say
soft spot.
soft spot for Buenos Aires because I'm in love with Argentina. Like everything about them, Argentinians, their food, their culture, and I think and Buenos Aires reminds me a little bit of Madrid, which I lived there for 5 years. So I really like Buenos Aires, but Mexico is also incredible. We're actually going back soon for a trip, a vacation, and yeah, Mexico, like Tulum, like the beach in Tulum is incredible, like
Increíble.
incredible. Like I think, yeah, I would say Mexico probably my
Yeah, I would
favorite.
say it is tough because of the timing of us going to Brazil was again time where you were eating keto. I don't even know if we went out to eat in Rio.
Yeah, we did. I remember that restaurant.
So it's a little bit
A
tough.
couple
It's a
actually.
little bit tough to judge Rio like that, but I have to say I would say that yeah. I mean, least favorite places, the places I enjoyed the least would be first 100% Fortaleza, I think. Cuz we just didn't do anything, so it's like it's not really a knock against Fortaleza, I guess, but
Yeah, there is nothing much to do.
yeah, I mean, I could skip that place. I mean, we had a nice like condo that we rented. The Airbnb lady was kind of insane, but I remember getting into arguments with
She
her.
would scream at me in Portuguese.
Yeah, she was like an insane lady because I left a bad review because we showed up, certain things weren't working. She was being super difficult. The remote workers Wi-Fi wasn't working, microwave wasn't working,
Yeah, it
like,
was kind of a mess.
and then she was just being kind of a psycho. So
Yeah.
yeah, I left a
So
bad
Alex
review.
stopped replying.
And then I blocked her,
So
and then she like freaked out and texted Laura.
and she texted me and she said like, I think your boyfriend like doesn't like me or something like that. I'm
No,
like,
she said something really aggressive. She
yeah.
was like, "Your boyfriend has a problem, or is crazy, or something like that."
Yeah, and I was like,
But
lady, I think
the
you got the problem.
funny thing is, I'm one of the companies, the RV rental company. I know how to like manage experiences and stuff like that. But her just responses to us complaining about the Wi-Fi was like, just like the Wi-Fi didn't work basically for 4 days or 5 days, and then she was like acting like she did us a huge favor by getting the Wi-Fi fixed, and it was like literally on the listing it said, like, I always look for listings that have good Wi-Fi, of course, because we were both working, and like a dedicated workspace. And that's what it said on the listing. And then it was like literally neither of those things. It didn't have and the Wi-Fi was really, really bad. It was like 1 or 2 MB/s download or something like that.
Yeah.
She did fix it while we were there, but also just dealing with her was not a fun experience. I would also say I didn't like Colombia as much of the other places. I would say like the top two for me would definitely be like top three would definitely be Mexico, Costa Rica, and Argentina. Um, I would say, of that period. But I think the biggest surprise for me was I really liked Athens.
Yeah,
Um,
we were
I really liked
almost.
Rome too. It
Oh,
wasn't necessarily a surprise that I was gonna
yeah,
like Rome,
I'm in love with Rome.
but I really liked Rome. We were only there for like a weekend, but it was really really nice. I really liked it.
We had fun. I still remember those artichokes that I had.
Yeah, we had fried artichokes.
Amazing.
But yeah, I would say we probably both agree Brazil is probably our least favorite country between the two of us. Brazil and Colombia, I think, were probably our least favorites. Um,
But
that first year, I
but
did. I also liked Cyprus, and we were in Paros and Mykonos in Greece. That was really good. Didn't necessarily not like I would go back to Colombia and I would go back to Brazil, but I would probably have a different trip. Like in
yeah,
Brazil, we didn't go to Florianopolis, which a lot of people really like.
or
That
to
probably
the
would,
Amazon.
yeah, or to the Amazon.
I would
That
like
probably
that.
would have been more our vibe. Jericho was really nice. If I went back to go like windsurfing, I think that would be a different experience there too. But yeah, I would just say Colombia and Brazil. Cartagena, the issue with Cartagena was we were used to being in like Mexico and Costa Rica where like you go to the beaches and like yeah, sometimes you have people like trying to sell you stuff. But in Cartagena, it was like on another level. Like Boca Grande Beach in Cartagena, like just going out in Cartagena, it was a beautiful city and I liked being, but it was like definitely felt more dangerous. The beaches in the city were terrible, dirty, just like people being really aggressive, and then even the beaches nearby were just again like just felt like kind of tourist traps. So Cartagena, I mean, it was okay, but Medellin I also liked, but again was dangerous. We had a friend who, or not actually our friend, a guy that we kind of knew that got stabbed there,
Yeah, he was.
and
I think
another one of our
at
friends got
night
robbed.
though.
Or I think multiple of our friends got robbed there. But it was cool. Like Medellin was cool. It's just, not necessarily like our place. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, what would you say was the most surprising place that you visited that you were like pleasantly surprised by that you didn't fully expect that you were gonna like it?
Cyprus for sure. Like I don't think why people don't travel more to Cyprus in Europe.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. It's like being in Greece, like those like clear waters,
Yeah, we
like
probably had a
and like half price. You
yeah we
know,
had like a 1,000 square foot apartment, two
with
bedrooms
an
with
incredible terrace.
a huge terrace balcony that we could like put a table on. We did workouts on it, and it was walking distance from the beach. That was like $700 a month,
Incredible.
and like a car rental was like $30 a day, and there was just a lot of like good
Food, like
food,
Mediterranean
sunny every
food.
day, beautiful beaches. We met some very nice people there. Like if that was a surprising place because it was essentially
Yeah.
like Greece,
But
but
half.
just not nearly as expensive as Greece.
I honestly, I would go back this year for summer, like to, if you want like a Greece, literally Greece vacation with like, like skipping all the tourists, the masses of people, and yeah, half price. Go to Cyprus, amazing, and you can visit Turkey. It's really close.
Yeah, and I think, but the month that I think we spent the most, which month do you think that was? That first year.
I would say, I don't know. What do you think?
I know for sure it was Greece.
Oh,
I know for sure.
yeah,
The month we were
that
in
was
Greece was the most
crazy.
expensive. Because I think
Mykonos was crazy.
yeah, Mykonos, I think that month, I might have spent maybe $5,000.
It's just like, yeah, we went.
Well,
Was it August?
we were in Greece in August. So in Peros, luckily again we had the Selena deal, so we were in Athens and then Peros for the month before going to Cyprus. But I think between Athens and Peros we spent about maybe 1,000 each.
Yeah.
But then maybe I didn't spend 5,000, or maybe I did. I don't know. But we spent probably then with Mykonos. Mykonos was like we probably both spent like 1,000 to 1,500 for like 4 days.
For 4 days.
Because
Like,
we're
and we
going to
didn't
like,
even eat out. Like, we ate sometimes at
but
the apartment.
we were going to like fancy clubs and
Yeah,
like
the nicest beach clubs
we
in
did go to
Mykonos.
like very fancy restaurants when we did go out to eat, and it was very expensive. But that month probably $4,000 or $5,000
Yeah.
each, I think, that month.
I mean, I honestly had
Which for us, like
so
that
much
might,
fun.
if you're, if it's from the U.S., that might not seem like a lot, but for us, there's been months where we spent like in Cyprus, probably there was months where we spent less than 2,000, 1,500 each. So that was definitely expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, Greece is amazing. Like, I honestly, I love Greece, and Mykonos was really fun. But I would say if I had to go back this year with you, like different, like obviously Cyprus doesn't have that party vibe that Greece has. But I think if you want to go to with your partner,
Well, it can, and Ayia Napa, I know people
yeah,
talk about it, but we just weren't there during this. Like we were there in September, October,
yeah, that's true.
so we weren't there during like party season.
That's right. Yeah,
So yeah, I think if you were there in summer, like I would I know British people definitely go to Cyprus.
yeah,
But I definitely think that was definitely one of the most on it because the beaches there were beautiful. Like you didn't have to pay like $50 or $100 to get a beach bed. I think it was like they mandate on the beaches there that they could only rent out beach beds for like €2 each
yeah.
or something
Two
like that.
euros for the entire day.
Yeah, for
Great.
a beach bed. So it was like that was very, very nice. That like no matter which beach you went to, like they mandated it in the country that like you can it was like €2 or €3 for the day. Mm-hmm. Whereas we just came from Greece, which like some of the oceanfront beds in Mykonos were like 100, €200
So
for the
crazy.
day to be on on the ocean there.
Do we have time for more questions?
Yeah. Do you have another question?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I need you have more.
Yeah. How do you feel like you changed as a person our first year traveling or your first year becoming a digital nomad?
I think I've learned to be more flexible with unexpected like situations. I also learned. Oh, that's really yeah. I learned to live with less. So like I used to. Well, right now I'm back to my old life. So like having all my clothes, my jewelry, my makeup, all that. But like I literally learn how to live with, few clothes. Obviously, it's like also we were traveling around in summer, so it's really easy. You don't need makeup because you're tan, and like you don't need. But you realize that you don't need. I mean, maybe for guys like they already live with little, but like for girls, like we have so many hair products, so much makeup, so many clothes, and like you don't really need that many. Like, and I think I learned to do that. I learned how to live with a luggage, and that was great because you literally like kind of like stop thinking about all those things and focus more on like other things, which are like traveling or like meeting people. Yeah. What about you?
Well, it was definitely the most I ever traveled in a period of time. So I mean, I definitely learned how to travel. Like I learned how to like book things and like really be smart about spending money, but I would say changed. Well, because I think for me, just because my business grew that year, like I became, I think, more confident as it went on. Like between the traveling and meeting people, and then also with like my business actually getting to a point where it was like making money and I was like starting to make more money, I think I became like more confident. I think overall between like feeling comfortable just being like I can be wherever. Like I don't need like I was in a backpack, literally just a backpack for 3 or 4 months, and then I did. I think the second time around, I had a carry on, but like so it was a little bit more. I had a backpack and a carry on. I think something like that. But I think it probably became more confident as the time went on, being like comfortable, just picking up, going wherever.
Also, for you, like meeting new people, right? Because you're more like an introvert.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm staying in like one city and I'm not forced to meet people,
He
I'm
won't.
I might not. I kind of have to be like, it's not that I'm like, I love meeting people and talking to people, but like when I kind of like get into my routine, I'm not like, I'm not great at like getting out and meeting people. So I kind of, being in that space where I'm like constantly forced to meet new people, definitely helps, or it's
So,
helped me.
so I think it's good for introverts,
It's more
right?
difficult for me to be in one place because, especially because I work remotely. I'll just stay. I'll wake up, work, go on a run, and I'll not talk to a single person for like a week.
Yeah, that's really hard. That's the dark side of the remote work. That if you're not in a co-living space, it can be lonely.
Yeah. So there's definitely, because now we're in Amsterdam, definitely talk to people less. Like I go out less.
He talks to our dog.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't leave like the apartment that much. I spend like the vast majority of my time in the apartment. Sometimes I go out, but
Yeah.
not nearly as much as like back then where I would be talking and meeting people. But yeah. Um, why did we stop being digital nomads? And
So,
did you want to stop?
yeah,
Technically, I'm still a digital nomad though.
yeah. Alex still a digital nomad. I'm not. I work for a company here in the Netherlands, and um, so I did want to stop. Yes, I did. Like, I feel like I was like miss. I so it's really important to live according to your values and what you want in the future. And I mean, Alec and I agree on the future that we want. Like, we want a family, and I am 29 right now. Like, I just turned 29, so I thought it was like about time to like settle down a little bit. I mean, it doesn't mean that we're gonna stay in the Netherlands forever, but and like settle down and start like we're gonna get married and like we'll have like children in a couple of years. So I feel like it was, yeah, time to like slow down a little bit, focus on work, and start like also organizing the finances, all these little things that you need to do to like have a family in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we went, and then after the first year, we went to Bali, Argentina. We took an RV road trip, and then we were in Spain for a little bit before we came to Amsterdam for Laura's job. But I think that we both agree that if it wasn't for like my like focus, like I want to do this, I want to travel to all these places, and like probably Laura on her own wouldn't have traveled to so many places or traveled for so long. Like I would have continued probably, like not like how we first started, but like we spent a couple months in Argentina last year, and like I probably would have continued moving like at more of like that style of pace, like a few months. Like we were in Bali for 3 months, which was actually really difficult for me because of the time difference. And then we were in Argentina for 2 months. I kind of liked that pace of moving more because we would like when we went to Argentina, our friend Tim came, Laura came, and then Anna and Antonio. They were, so we had like, we pretty much always made friends wherever we went. But
Yeah.
I think, I probably would have continued traveling, but it also came at a time when we slowed down that I had more opportunities. So now, like, now I'm making more money than I've ever made before because I've also slowed down and focused more on work.
Yeah.
So
So
it came at a good time. But I think, you know,
I
I think
really
Laura didn't l- love the digital nomad life as
I
not
did
as much
like
as
it
me
for a little for the amount of for like
for a
2 years
period of time.
for a period of time. Like I really enjoy it, and I'm like so glad I did it. Like honestly, and I every time somebody asks me, I always recommend it because I feel like it's amazing. Like and you meet so you grow up so much. Like but I feel like it has to be like I we know people that still do this and like they might not want this life like for the near future, like getting married, having kids, or settling down in a place. I want that. So, oh, our dog is dreaming. He's making noises. Eh, so yeah, I we want that. So we kind of we think that it's really important to yeah live according to what you want in life, and things are not gonna happen overnight. Like if you wanna have kids, then your kids are not like you have to be a little bit more settled down. I'm not saying that we're not gonna travel with kids. Of course we're gonna travel, but you have to you have to slow down a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I have taken trips by myself. Um,
Yeah, and we're traveling. We're going to
we
Colorado
went
now.
to Florida for a couple weeks together. We just went to Spain for a week together. We're going to Colorado and Mexico.
We still travel.
We still we still travel. It's just not like a new place
We're
every
still
month,
fun.
kind of.
We are fun.
So what do you think? This is from Drew Jitsu 13 on Instagram.
Shout out, Drew.
Shout out. He said, "What is the biggest travel you faced or challenge you faced while traveling, or the scariest moment?"
I would say okay, so I would say first I would say like a general thing that I didn't face because I was traveling with Alec, but that a lot of people face when they are it can get
Because I'm
lonely.
so
You're
interesting, and I thought you were gonna say like scared of like getting abducted or something.
no,
So I was like
just
flexing.
lonely. You were by my side, so I couldn't get lonely.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is like we were traveling as a couple, so we always had each other. When your social battery, when you run out of like your social battery, like you wanted to be in the room by yourself, we had each other. But some people, when they're doing it by themselves and they don't want to meet new people, and they go back to their hotel room and they're like, it can get lonely. So I think that's like a challenge that some people face when they're traveling. But something that I've personally faced, um, I mean, you kind of, uh, when you travel so much, you kind of get disconnected from your friends from where you are, like from like the city that you were like where you have most of your friends. So let's say my friends in Spain. I've been traveling. I did my master's in London. I live in Singapore. Then I started my digital nomad life. So it's been a long time since I don't live there. So it's kind of course, they are still my friends. And like every time I go, it's like, no, like, time hasn't passed. But it's true that you miss a lot of things. And that's something that you have to live with. You cannot have everything and you are going to miss out moments and things.
Yeah. I mean, I would say biggest challenge. I mean, definitely the consistency with staying in shape. One of the biggest challenges is consistency staying in shape. I traveled actually with Drew's workout bag. So I was able to stay in pretty good shape, but once I stopped having consistent access to a gym, like probably the best shape I was in while traveling was when we were in Bali, because I was going to like this. I had a gym membership there. We were like it was a little bit more consistent. But I do think that there are times where it's like you want the biggest challenge. Yeah, I would say it can feel kind of like like I remember that month in Brazil because we just weren't like we just weren't hanging out with anybody. Like I don't like I basically one time in the entire month like we hung out with
Yeah.
like in a month. Um, and then we also weren't really like we did a couple things. Like we went in a vehicle dune tour
Also, it was low season, and
and it was low
that
season.
place is known for their windsurf, and
Windsurfing, yeah.
and it was low season, so there wasn't anyone doing windsurf, and
Yeah, and also because we
yeah.
stopped staying at Selena's. Like we stayed at Selena for like a few days, but then we were staying in a hotel and then we were staying in a condo. So like we stopped like meeting people um for a month. So that's when I kind of started to feel like more lonely, I guess, because it was just like we weren't really doing that much. Like that entire week in Fortaleza, like we basically just worked and didn't leave the room really very much.
Yeah.
And then scariest moment, I feel like there has to be
Scary?
like I feel like there has to be like a scary moment. I feel like a lot of the scary moments are like trying to make sure you're on time for like your shuttle or something like that. Oh, actually,
I ran into an alligator and I was scared.
one of the scariest moments, I guess, was we were on this trip. We met these guys. I don't know if they were from Latvia or where they were from.
Yeah,
No, they were from
couple.
they were from somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
These guys,
Super nice
we
guys.
were hanging out with them on this boat. We took this like boat tour to this island off the coast of Rio. Like we went up the coast, then we went to this tour, which was like an interesting trip. And
The boat
so like
forgot
the
about
boat
us.
taking people back to like the main ship, like the kind of boat that was, we were just cut off from the last one. Like it was full, so we were just standing on the beach, and they like left. But then we saw the ship start to leave.
Like we thought they would do a
They were
head
gonna,
count or something.
yeah, we thought they were gonna come back for us because we were waiting to get on the boat. We were like a little bit late, but
Not really.
we were
Almost.
waiting to get on the boat, and then they just like took off because there was too many people. So we're like, okay, cool, we'll wait here. But we were like the only two left. And then the boat started to leave, like the ship started to leave, and
So we
were
thought
like
we were gonna
about-
be left in a remote
we
island.
thought we were gonna be left on this remote island. We were like, what the hell? And we were like waving our hands, and then these two guys were like waving back at us, and we saw them like run, and then the boat stopped, and then like the little boat came back and got us, and then they were like, yeah, without those two guys, we would have totally left you guys there. And then we went and got
You know that
lunch
the
with
thing
them.
is like you kind of get
That was
scared about
kind
those
of
things.
scary.
I'm like I was just chilling.
I was, that is us. Like I was panicking, and Laura was like, I think I turned around, she was tanning, like she was like laying down.
I just don't.
I was freaking out, like trying to make sure we got back on the boat, and Laura was like, huh. She like went on a little walk or something.
I feel like it's like yeah. I don't know. I don't panic.
That's also probably why we didn't miss any flights, like we didn't miss any ferries and stuff like that. It's because I am like on those things. I'm the type of person who shows up to the airport early. I know exactly like what the gate is before we get to the airport.
Yeah, I would get to the airport and would be like, okay, where are we going?
Yeah.
But that's why we're a good couple. Phew. All right. Well, it's time to wrap it up, right?
Yeah. Any last wise words?
If you whatever you want to do, go for it. If you want to travel, go for it. If you want to find a remote job, go for it.
Do it.
You can do it. And if you have more questions, just message us in Instagram. And don't forget to comment on this video, please, and give it a like. And if you want more videos like this or like any other topics, like we can talk about how to travel like as a couple, or like couple finances, anything that you want, we'll comment on it.
Yeah.
So we'll see you in the next one.
That's it.
I hope you like it. Bye.
Bye.